Hey guys, it's Jake here with eTrailer. Today we have a 2024 Jeep Wrangler 4xe, and we're going to be taking a look at the Kuat Pivot 2 swing away base. This is going to be a great accessory to add to your Jeep Wrangler because without it, there are very, very few accessories out there, whether it be bike racks or cargo carriers, that are going to work with the rear door on your Jeep. You can see we've got the Kuat Pivot opened up with our NV 2.0, our Kuat NV 2.0 bike rack on it, and you can open up your door all the way without making contact with your bike rack. The biggest point that I want to make with the Kuat Pivot 2 is that it's going to give you your access back to the back of your Jeep. It's cargo carriers, bike racks, any type of hitch accessory. Almost none of them work with a Jeep Wrangler because of the spare tire and the door. You're not going to be able to open the door with even the Kuat NV 2.0. You can't open the door, even a crack on the side to be able to get back there. Well, because you have to open the door before the window, you have no access to the back of your car. Well, when you're out riding or you like to leave your bike rack on the back of your vehicle, whether it's the Kuat NV 2.0 or another style of bike rack, I can just tell you that the Kuat NV 2.0 works really, really good with this because you can see how our door can swing open, whether we had some bikes on it earlier. You can swing it open with the bikes on it, with a bike on the trail posts. You can open up the door and it's not going to make contact with the bikes or the bike rack itself once it swings all the way out. The biggest point about this is that if you're driving around, your bike rack's left on the back of your car and you have to stop to get groceries or pick something up and you have a car full of people and you no longer have a back seat to put that stuff, this is where it comes in handy. If you're in the parking lot at the grocery store, you can swing your bike rack away, open the back of your car, and use it. The Pivot's going to have two lockout positions and one lock-in position once it's folded all the way in. We have a handy little lever here. It's the same style lever that's on the Kuat NV. You simply pull it. We are locked in the locked out position here. This position is for if you want to open the door all the way like we just showed you. But if you're on a busy city street and you really don't want to swing your bikes out into the middle of the sidewalk or anything like that, or if you're in a parking lot, typically there's another car right next to you. You can pull this lever and it just has a 90-degree mode so that you can get into the back of your vehicle. But I can tell you one thing, if you have this pivot, you may not even need to swing it out at all because you are going to get a little bit of space to reach in here. If you need to just grab something or you have one bag of groceries or something you want to throw back there, you can toss it in there, reach back, grab your helmet, grab your shoes, whatever you want to do. And it's going to give you that extra distance from the hitch pin. From the center of our hitch pin hole to the outermost part of our pivot is going to be 14 inches. So that already gives you so much more room to work with. Whereas if you just had a bike rack in your hitch on your Jeep, it's either not going to fit or it's going to be really tight to where you can't get this door open at all. Now there are some other pivoting accessories out there made by many different brands. I just personally think that the Kuat Pivot works the best because they didn't put any of the handles or knobs on top. There's some out there that will make contact with the spare tire or the bottom of your door will make contact with a bolt or a handle. Those are more so made for other vehicles like minivans or something that you still want the pivoting or the swing away feature, but that you don't have a door that's specific like a Jeep or a Bronco. What I like about the Pivot 2 is it's not just for a bike rack. There's a lot of pivoting bike racks out there, but it's just a bike rack. This is going to be essentially a pivoting hitch receiver tube. So whatever accessory you have in here, if you like the tailgate, you want to put a flagpole in there, you can swing that out to the side, get it out of your way so you can get access to the back of your Jeep. So this is going to work great for cargo carriers. If you got a load on the back of your vehicle, again, you need to stop, pick up some food or whatever, you can swing the cargo carrier away in order to get into the back of your vehicle. When it comes to weight capacities for the Kuat Pivot on the back of our Jeep, you're going to have a max tongue weight capacity of 250 pounds, which is really, really impressive given the fact that you can swing it away with that 250 pounds. I will say you want to be careful what you're putting in here. If you're putting a cargo carrier that's rated for 500 pounds, or if you're carrying a bike rack that's rated for example, this one's rated for 60 pounds apiece, those cargo carriers get tricky. They have a 500-pound weight capacity. Well, you're not going to have a 500-pound weight capacity anymore. You're going to have a 250-pound weight capacity. But you also want to factor in the weight of that cargo carrier. So subtract that from the 250, and that's what you have left to be able to put on that cargo carrier. What's really going to make the Kuat Pivot rock solid when you're driving down the road is going to be this cam lever here. I did tighten it up a little bit more, maybe 2 full turns on these bolts, maybe a turn and a half. And that just gave me quite a bit more tension on this knob here. And you can see here, it's quite wobbly without this cam in place. If you get that cam pulled up, it locks it in. It's very important that you put an accessory into the Kuat Pivot that also has an anti-rattle device. We have an anti-rattle bolt down here that gets torqued down so that the Kuat Pivot does not rattle, but you want to make sure that your accessories are not rattling in here either. You can see I'm shaking the bike rack and I'm moving the entire car, and you cannot hear any movement inside of that hitch. This is going to make it very, very comfortable to travel down the road. This is what the Kuat Pivot's going to look like with no accessory inserted in the tube here. Me personally, I would just leave it on the back of the car like this and pretend as if this is your new hitch receiver tube. And just never take it out. It's built to be outside. It's got a really, really tough matte black powder coat finish. It looks good on the back of the vehicle. You could take it off, but you do have to use an Allen key to torque this down. So it would kind of be a pain to me to have to take it off. Another benefit that you get from the Kuat Pivot just by its construction, not even the pivoting feature, is something you saw a little bit earlier when I swung the door open about a foot, is that you're going to get your new hitch receiver tube is going to be about 6 inches out from the edge of your tires. So every accessory is going to work great with this. You can fold them up, you can tilt them down, you can swing them away, all that stuff. Without this, there's very, very few accessories, like we mentioned earlier, that you're going to be able to use any of those features. So if you have a cargo carrier that flips up to the back of your Jeep, you're probably not going to be able to flip it up because the tire's in the way. Or you're going to have to take your spare tire off, which a lot of people do, but that's not safe to travel around the road without a spare tire. But with this added distance, you can use all of your accessories as normal. Now some measurements so you know how it's going to sit on the back of your Jeep. From the center of our hitchman hole to the outermost part of our rack here, we mentioned earlier, is 14 inches. From the ground to the bottom side here is 18 inches. And this is going to be a straight shot, so you don't have to worry about any other parts of it hanging down lower. That should be high enough unless you're going over some really, really extreme terrain. This should be high enough to where you don't have to worry about any of your accessories dragging. I would recommend looking into accessories that have a pretty aggressive rise in the shank so that when you put them in here, your bike rack, much like our NV 2.0, is going to sit much higher. So that way, if you're going through small creek crossings or something like that, or up a steep driveway, your bike rack's sitting up quite a bit higher. From the ground to the top inside of a receiver tube is about 22.5 inches, so keep that in mind when looking for accessories. If you want to get those strength shank accessories or one with a rise in the shank, just be sure you're not getting an accessory that's too high for you to be able to load it properly. Well guys, hopefully this video helped you decide whether or not the Kuat Pivot 2 is the right accessory for you and your 2024 Jeep Wrangler 4xe.